Okay. If I look like I've been crying, ignore that because I have. Life is hard. Gonna do quick little wrap up for February. I read 9 books. Before I do the wrap up though, I'm gonna quickly go through my March like TBR. I don't really do TBRs because if I set up stuff like that for myself, I'm gonna fail. It's the next day. That's just how life is going for me. But okay. I'm gonna do my March TBR because I don't really do TBRs, and then we'll get into the books that I read in February. The only reason these are on my TBR for March is because I literally have them checked out from the library at this time, so I know that I'm gonna read them before they're due. But let's just go through it. First thing on my March TBR is The Iliac Crest. I have no idea what this book is about. I know that it's short, it's really weird, and that's really all I needed to know. I think it has like really beautiful writing or something. I have no idea what this book is about, but I'm gonna read it and then maybe I'll let you know. Second on my TBR, I have Demon Theory by Stephen Graham Jones, which I'm already 30% of the way through this. It's basically, if you like My Heart's a Chainsaw, you'll probably like this book because it's basically like a trilogy, like a horror movie trilogy. Pretty much like an 80s slasher, but written as a like movie screenplay. It's written like a screenplay kind of. And I'm Stephen Graham Jones is like an auto read for me. Like I'm gonna read everything this man has ever written in his life because I love it. This is what, like, I think the 9th book by him that I've read, but I'm right. It's just like my 8th or 9th book that I've read from him. I'm loving it. And then I also have Blackbeard's Treasure, which is just like a middle grade pirate story. It's cute. I just started it. I've only read like the first chapter, but it's really cute. It's these 2 little kids and they're gonna go on pirate adventures, and I think that's adorable. One thing about me and pirates, I'm gonna read it, okay? Then I also have Midnight for Charlie Bone on hold, the audiobook on hold from the library. I also have the physical copy, but I'm gonna wait for the audiobook to come in to read that. I don't think I have anything else on hold. Oh, I have The One That Got Away by Stephen Graham Jones. I have that on hold too. So both of those should come in this month. That's my TBR for March. Books I read in February. Let's get into the actual video. My life is in shambles. I've given up. I literally gave up today. I said, you know what? It's simply impossible for me to care less. I just don't care. Despite the absolute shit year I've been having, I read a lot of good books in February. I have like 3 5-stars and like 1 3-star. The rest are 4 stars. So it's been great. The first book I read, which I already knew was gonna be a 5-star before I even opened the book, is The Whale Rider. Listen. I watched the movie years ago and I still think about it every single freaking day of my life. On my Letterboxd, it's in my top 4 movies, and it's been there since I made my Letterboxd account, and it's not gonna move because I love that movie. I cried like a freaking baby at the end. I cried like a baby at the end of the book too. In the movie, you're from the perspective of Podu. In the book, you're from the perspective of her uncle. My heart. I love her. I love her so much. It's set in New Zealand, where I'm supposed to be actually right now, where I was supposed to be 2 weeks ago. Who knows if I ever even go. But speaking of holds from the library, The Ones That Got Away just came in. How exciting. Then I read Cabin at the End of the World because the movie Knock at the Cabin, why they changed the name, I have no freaking idea. I'm not gonna get into my beef with M. Night Shyamalan. That man, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to discuss it. But I read the book so that I could go see the movie, and then everyone who saw the movie and read the book was like, just wait for it to come on streaming. So I didn't read the book for nothing because the book was great. I love Paul Tremblay's. I'm having a stroke. I think Paul Tremblay's writing is great. It's only like 170 pages or something, but I mean, it was a 4-star for me. Like, it's just a family in a cabin, and then these freaking people show up and they're like, the world's gonna end, y'all gotta figure out who you gonna sacrifice. And they're like, be for real, be so fucking for real right now. And it's a mess, and it's so stressful, and it only takes place over like 2, maybe 3 days. And I was like, this is why I don't read thrillers. I hate being like stressed out like that reading a book. Like, the anxiety of it is just so like, oh my god. But I liked it, and I gave it 4 stars. Then I reread The Love of My Life, My Heart is a Chainsaw. I love horror TV shows, horror movies, horror books. I'm obsessed, especially like slashers. Like Jade, that's my final girl. I mean, Sydney's like my final girl, but like Jade she's my final girl. Like, that's me in a book. This book was me in a book. That's me. I'm Jade. I freaking love. I can't even put into words. I would get my copy, but it's like packed away. I have it like crazy annotated. I love that book. And the Don't Fear the Reaper came out last month, so I had to reread the book to make sure that it was still a 5-star for me. It was. And then I had to reread it so it was fresh in my mind when I read the second book. It's just a girl who's obsessed with slashers, and then a slasher comes to her town. Or does it? Who can never be sure? I will never shut up about this freaking book. I'm probably gonna reread it. I am gonna reread it. I'm gonna reread the other 2 when the 3rd one comes out. I'm gonna reread the 2nd one when the paperback comes out in September so that I can annotate that one. But like, I love it. It's perfection. Then I read a nonfiction. It's The Secret of Nature. I read The Hidden Life of Trees like a couple years ago, I think, and apparently it's like a trilogy. I'll have to get the 3rd book from the library when they like get the freaking 3rd book at the library. But the second one, it was good. I don't rate nonfiction because it's like, it's just straight facts. Like, you're just giving me facts, so like I can't be like, didn't enjoy, because it's like, I don't know. I don't rate nonfiction, but I really liked it. Then I read another Stephen Graham Jones because I'm obsessed, I guess. So I read After the People Lights Have Gone Off, which is a short story collection, which I didn't know. No one told me that. So I was really confused for like the first 3 stories because I was like, when are we gonna go back to that chapter? Like, when is that chapter gonna come back? Like, we're getting a lot of different perspectives, and I'm kind of confused on how these are gonna connect. And then I realized they're not going to connect because they're short stories and they have nothing to do with each other. I did enjoy all of them though. I gave it a 4-star because that was my like average rating. My favorite story, I think, would probably be After the People Lights Have Gone Off. I think they're all, I don't know what the titles are on freaking Libby. It like doesn't, they're like all the chapters are the same titles, but I know that's not true. I like the vampire one, which I think is the first story, and I think the one that's actually called After the People Lights Have Gone Off. I like those 2 a lot. Those were 5 stars. The rest were 4 stars. I love the whole book. No one's surprised. Then I read a short story, The Fall of the House of Usher. Some of these classics be insane, especially the horror ones, like the drugs they were taking at the time. Man, I want to like... I read this because the show is coming out. No one's surprised. I love The Haunting of Hill House. I love The Haunting of Bly Manor. I'm gonna watch The Fall of the House of Usher. This is not news to anyone. So I read the short story because I just remembered that like it exists. And I read The Haunting of Hill House last year, which is like not even remotely the same as the show. He literally just took their names and like made a show. I love the show though, and I love the book. 2 separate things for me, you know? We can appreciate, look, commercial, okay? Because I'm gonna deviate a little here. I need to rant a little bit. It's not even a rant because nobody cares but me. But like, some movie adaptations are great, even if they don't follow the source material of the book at all. I'm not even talking about Percy Jackson, okay? That is not what we're here to discuss. I'm talking about The Vampire's Assistant. Okay, look, I read all 12 of those freaking books. I devoured that series. I was a Darren Shan stan in middle school. You couldn't tell me crap about that man. I read every single one of his books that they had at my school library. In my head, that series, top tier. I don't want to hear shit about shit, okay? It's beautiful and I love it. The movie, okay, anything with Josh Hutcherson's gonna be a 10, all right? John C. Reilly, Willem Dafoe, like, do not discuss this. There's no art. This movie is beautiful. Is it even remotely related to the books? It's honestly like a really, really bad adaptation, like terrible. Like, I would love if they made like a TV series based on the books that actually like followed the plot of the books, because the movie was like, yo, that first book's kind of cool. Like, what if we sort of kind of did that? And they just like gave up halfway through. This movie is like, it's a 10 out of 10 for me. It's always gonna hit, okay? It's always gonna hit. I don't compare book and movie adaptations, okay? I'll read the book to go see the movie, but I'm gonna give it a chance, okay? Okay, the Percy Jackson one was like objectively terrible, but if we're thinking about it from the 2000s standpoint, that movie is a relic, like truly a beautiful, beautiful representation of the early 2000s. Cause he stopped Medusa with his iPhone. Okay, we're done here. That's enough. Moving on. I read Don't Fear the Reaper by Stephen Graham Jones, of course, because I reread My Heart is a Chainsaw, so I'm gonna read book 2. I bought it hardback, went up to my Barnes & Noble, not even my Barnes & Noble, went to Barnes & Noble in a whole different state because I was like, I'm not missing the release date, like I'm getting the book. Got the book, read it, love it. It's another 5-star. No one is surprised. Like, there's a reason this man is an auto read for me. Like, I'm gonna read all of his stuff. As soon as the 3rd book comes out, I'm scooping. I don't care where I am, what I'm doing. I'm gonna have the money I'm gonna make it work. It's getting a little aggressive. Let's calm down. I did take my time with this book, so it did take me like a week and a half, taking all the details. The plot twists in this one, this man is insane. He's insane. Like, literally, genuinely. I loved it though. Then I read Pastoralia, which was just, see, this is what happens to me. People like recommend books and I never like listen to what the books are about, and I just add them to my list like automatically because I'm like, I love you and I'll read whatever you recommend, right? I don't remember who recommended this or where the heck I found this book, but I didn't know that it was another short story collection. This keeps happening to me. I don't know why. I'm just like accidentally reading short story collections. And I was really like, okay, this is getting odd. This is getting a little, I gave it 3 stars. I really liked the first story with the cavemen, and what was the other one? See, like, I don't even really remember. I just know that he has a very very specific type of writing style that just kind of like really hit or miss for me. So a lot of the stories were hit or miss. I'm just thinking about, I think it's Sea Oaks is the one, his like famous like award winning. I was like, what is this? I also like that he wrote the like music at the beginning and the end of the audiobook and like the in between, the like transition music. I like that he like wrote that. It's nice, but I was like, what? Some men don't need to pick up a pen and paper, okay? It's really okay. 3 stars. Last thing I read was White Noise, because it's a Netflix movie. I didn't see the trailer. I saw like 3 stills from the movie. My mom sent me some article thing about like adapting this for TV, and I was like, I've never heard of that book in my life. I'm gonna read it. And I gave it 4 stars. What is it about? There's having a stroke. Okay. What's it about? Some guy who teaches Hitler studies at a university, living his life in like I think it's the 1960s, like the late 60s, like 68 or 67. I don't know where those numbers are coming from, but that's what's in my head right now. I don't know what I can say that's not a spoiler, because I don't read. I've never read a book description ever. Someone can describe the book to me and I'll say, I'll read it, but like 90% of the books that get recommended to me are just like my mom being like, you need to read this. Have you read this? Did you hear about this book? I think you should read it. And that's like, I am famous for judging books by their covers, and I will continue to do so. I don't care. And what of it? And what about it? What about it? If the cover's looking cool, I'm gonna get it. You know, now I'm just thinking of that freaking video essay by Praise and Shadows about the horror book covers and what's going on there and what happens. I love book covers. Anyway, those are all the books I read in February. If you have any recommendations, let me know. I love a good book rec. It will probably take me a little bit to get to it because I got a lot of stuff stacked up waiting for me to get to. Also, I've been on the fence about if I should read 8th Grade Bites, like the Vladimir Todd Chronicles next, or Vampirates next. But then I might just go Peter and the Starcatchers because I think about the book every day. I really do. Whatever. Goodbye.